Hello everyone. Today's question is examine the impact of various economic factors on the rupee's value. Highlight the importance of a stable and adequately valued rupee for a country's economic growth and stability. This question will be from GS paper 3. We need to complete it within 250 words. So main focus of this question is the depreciation of rupee current days. If you have gone through the national news, then you have found that the depreciation of rupees taking place, and as a result, many financial problems and like inflations are happening. So we'll talk about them in this through this answering of these questions. Now, rupee depreciations. You can see from this figure that here this is dollar and this is rupee. Now, by looking at this picture, can you tell me which has more value with respect to this figure? Yes, I'm not talking about the rupee depreciation. I'm talking about with respect to this figure. What do you think? Which has more value, rupee or dollar? You can comment the answer. Now let's come to the answer part of this question. Rupee depreciation. This means that rupee has become relatively less worthy with respect to dollar. That is, rupee has lost some value with respect to the dollars. And if the rupee, Indian rupee, moves from rupees 50 a dollar to rupees 60 a dollar, then the rupee is said to have depreciated. মানে আগতে 50 টকাৰে এটা ডলাৰ মানে $1 is equal to 50 rupees আছিল, now $1 is equal to 60. এনেকুৱা যদি হয় তেতিয়া আমি কম যে রুপিৰ ভ্যালুটো ডেপ্রিসিয়েট হৈছে। বা তাৰ যদি উল্টাটো হয় তেনেহলে আমি কম রুপি অ্যাপ্রিসিয়েট হৈছে। মানে রুপি appreciation means that rupee has become more valuable in comparison to the dollar. If the Indian rupees moves from rupees 60 a dollar to rupees 50 a dollar, then the rupee is said to have appreciated. It means that we can buy more dollars now with the same amount of rupee. That is the main thing. Now, if appreciation happens, then what happens? With the exact amount, we can buy more dollar. Now, what are the impact of various economic factors on the rupee's value? First, FII, foreign institutional investors. You know about FDI and FII, at least I'm supposing so that you know about them. Now, foreign institutional investor, as per the data reported, they are showing some disinterest in Indian markets lately. And the slowdown in the developed economies, like US and Japan, is believed to be the key reason for that. Means currently FII is showing some disinterest in Indians investment market, share market, you can say. So what will be the probable reason? The slowdown of the developed economies like US and Japan. Then high inflation. During the periods of high inflation, Indian goods become more expensive in the global markets, thus making them less competitive as compared to the goods from other countries like China. কাৰণ চাইনা এইটো বহুত সস্তাতে দি দিয়ে মানে বস্তুবিলাক, and they do it intentionally. Remember, China does it intentionally. Now, increasing gold imports add even more to the deficit because we are importing more gold. Now, more gold means what? We are paying more. We have to pay more if high inflation is happening, right? Now, widening of current account deficit. This also contributes to the high demand for dollars in the foreign exchange market. Widening of current account deficit. Current account deficit bahi gole ki hobo? Amar dollar besi lagibo, right? Demand of dollar will be increased in the foreign exchange market. Then demand and supply rule. If the demand for the dollar is greater than its supply in India, then the dollars will appreciate. That is, the rupee depreciate and vice versa. So if demand increases, demand for the dollar increases, then dollar will be appreciated. Then oil price. India has to import a bulk of its oil requirement to satisfy the local demand, which is rising year on year. And in international market, prices of oil are quoted in dollars. So whenever the domestic demand for oil increases, when the price of oil increases in the international market, there will be a rise in the demand for dollars to pay for the oil, so imported, and when depreciates the rupee further. মানে কি কৈছো, যেতিয়া ডমেষ্টিক ডিমাণ্ড বাঢ়ি যাব অইলৰ, তেতিয়া আমি বহুত অইল কিনিব লাগিব, ৰাইট? এণ্ড তেতিয়া কি হ'ব, ইণ্টাৰনেশ্যনেল মাৰ্কেটত যিহেতু মেক্সিমাম কেছত কি হয়, অইলটো আমি ডলাৰতে কিনা হয়, চ' আমি মোৰ টকা দিব লাগিব, we have to pay more in rupees because our demand is increasing, or in that way rupee will be depreciated. This means to say that a rise in the demand for dollars to pay for the oil so imported that depreciates the rupee further. Then policy inaction, perception of lack of clarity on the policy pulls up the speculative. Policy eta issue hobo pare, keneke policy bonwa hoisil. Then forex reserves, the forex reserves have been fluctuating in the recent months. Due to this, RBI is unable to intervene aggressively in the markets for foreign exchange. Then growth slowdown. India's economic growth is slowing down due to which foreign investors have started pulling money out of the Indian market steadily. Means ki hoise, India's jitu economic down hoise, to economic to growth to down hoar karone bahut foreign investor money nijor jikhini investment ase hekhini tahati pull out kori loi goise, right? Then capital control, the decision by the RBI and government to impose temporary restriction on capital flows has only discouraged foreign firms from pumping money into India. Then importance of a stable rupee for a country's economic growth and stability. The overall macroeconomic stability is impacted if of Indian rupee is falling or depreciated. যদি গোটেই আমাৰ কি হ'ব, ইণ্ডিয়াৰ ৰুপিটো যদি ডেপ্ৰিচিয়েট হয়, গোটেই আমাৰ মেক্ৰ ইকনমিক যিটো ষ্টেবিলিটি আছে সেইটো ইম্পেক্ট হ'ব। এণ্ড দ্য বিগেষ্ট impact of a weakening rupee is inflation, given India imports more than 80% of its crude oil. কারণ আমি 80% আমার requirement crude oil import করিয়ে আমি পূরণ কৰো। যদি তোমার rupee value to weak, মানে rupee value depreciate হয়, তেনেহলে কি হ'ব, বহুত পইচা সেই crude imported কাৰণে দিব লগিয়া হ'ব। Then in that case inflation will happen. Then depreciation reduces the value of a country's currency when compared to the currency of other countries. Depreciation discourages imports because the imported goods become more expensive due to the reduction in the value of rupee. As the goods become more and more expensive, it leads to rising inflation. In its April Monetary Policy Report 2022, India's central bank assumed that the rupee will trade around 76 per dollar during financial year 2023. Okay, but adding that a 5% decline from this would raise inflation by 20 basis points. The rupee is already down over 2% from this assumption, implying higher inflation is going ahead. 2022 প্ৰেডিক্ট কৰিছিলে যে মেৰা মনিটাৰী পলিচি ৰিপৰ্টত কৈছিলে যদি 76 পাৰ ডলাৰ থাকিব আৰু 5% ডিক্লাইন হৈ যাব যদি ইনফ্লেশ্যন কি বুলি, আৰু যদি 5% ডিক্লাইন হয় ৰূপীৰ ভেলুটো, তেনেহ'লে 20 বেচিছ পইণ্টত বাঢ়ি যাব ইনফ্লেশ্যন। আৰু এতিয়ালৈকে আমাৰ ইতিমধ্যে 2% ডাউন হৈ গৈছে, ডিক্লাইন হৈ গৈছে। চ' আহিবলগীয়া সময়ত আমি এটা হায়াৰ ইনফ্লেশ্যন ফেচ কৰিবলৈ গৈ আছো। A depreciated rupee means that the pass-through of important inflation becomes higher, and with global crude hitting records high, it will fit into the domestic retail inflation through higher prices of petrol and diesel, thereby increasing the prices of goods. And if the global commodity prices remain stubbornly high, our imports will continue to stay elevated, and that will further add pressure on the prices of common goods. যদি আমাৰ ক্ৰুড অইলটোৰ ইম্পৰ্টটো বাঢ়ি গৈ আছে, তাৰ কাৰণে আমি বহুত ৰুপিজ কি কৰি আছো, খৰচ কৰি আছো, বহুত আমি খৰচ তাৰ বাবে এমাউণ্ট লগাই আছো। আৰু সেইটো কাৰণে ইয়াৰ লগত জড়িত যেনেকৈ পেট্ৰল ডিজেলৰ দাম বাঢ়িব, আৰু তাৰ লগত জড়িত কি হ'ব, বাকী বস্তুবিলাকৰ কমন গুডছ বিলাকৰ দাম বাঢ়ি যাব, ৰাইট? So import bill will continue to stay elevated, and that will further add pressure on the prices of common goods. Overall কবলৈ গলে কি হৈছে এই rupee depreciation কাৰণে ইনফ্লেশনৰ প্ৰবলেমটো বহুত বেছি বাঢ়ি গৈ থাকিব। RBI অলৰেডি তোমাৰ প্ৰেডিক্ট কৰি কৈছিলে যে যদি আৰু 5% বাঢ়ে ডিক্লাইন হয় মানে পইচা ডেপ্ৰিচিয়েশ্যন যদি বাঢ়ে মানে 5% ডিক্লাইন হৈ যায় ইণ্ডিয়ান ৰুপিৰ ভেলুটো তেনেহলে ইনফ্লেশ্যন 20 বেচিছ পইণ্ট বাঢ়ি যাব আৰু এতিয়ালৈকে 2% হলে so you know what will be the outcome. Now how the conclusion can be stated here? While some countries like China have purposely depreciated their currency to gain the trade benefit, and there are other nations where a weakening currency creates the havoc. The multi-million dollar question is that whether a weakening currency is an indication of something good or bad. It definitely is not a good sign for economies. A weak currency is often accompanied by a current account deficit, and that reflects a weakening economy. So countries like China, they purposely depreciated their currency so that more number of trades will happen, more number of exports happen. Okay, but some other countries like us, there is a multi-million dollar question that whether this will means the weakening currency will impact in a positive way or negative way. But we can conclude that this is not a good sign for economies. Why? Because a weak currency is often accompanied by a current account deficit. And if that will happen, you know about Bank of the 1991, that crisis. Yes or no? Current account deficit বাঢ়ি গলে বা যদি আমাৰ ফৰেক্স ৰিজাৰ্ভৰ ৰিজাৰ্ভ কমি যাব তেনেহলে আমাৰ কি হ'ব বেলেন্স অফ পেমেন্ট ক্ৰাইচিছ হ'ব we already experienced once in 1991 so and that leads to the our means what we can say we have to obey the IMF rules and regulation then only they have conditionally tackle those balance of payment issue so that thing will never want to happen again so in our case weakening of currency but weak currency is not a good sign for a country like India okay for a country like us so আমাৰ নিচিনা কাউন্ট্ৰি আমাৰ ভাৰতৰ নিচিনা কাউন্ট্ৰি কাৰণে উইক কাৰেন্সি এটা নেগেটিভ ইম্পেক্ট হে কৰিব পাৰে মানে পেলাব পাৰে so we should not actually take this weakening economy or weakening currency implied economy as a good sign so with this we have discussed a very good topic related to Indian economy that is the appreciation of rupee and what are the factors behind it and what will be the impact of it so etute ami aji karone samoru we'll meet again with a new question till then take care bye bye